Let me ask you something. Given the seemingly infinite size of our galaxy, with documentation of our Earth going back millions of years and hundreds of thousands of years with the human race, where is everybody? Extraterrestrial life seems almost like an inevitability, and yet, in spite of how much of our galaxy we've explored and our remarkable advancements in space exploration and communication, how have we still found no trace of life outside of our own planet? Well, what if I told you that we have? That there are people out there that went through the same struggles we have? Well, there are. Or at least there were, but we still see their stories today. Stories of heroes, villains, and regular people. Stories in places where technology has far surpassed our own, and places where the people still rely on spears and rocks against their enemies. Stories of wars set on a scale impossible to imagine. These people and their stories have been around for many years, and even today we're still so encapsulated by them. And to think, it all started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars. This 1977 sci-fi spectacle has received nearly universal acclaim since its release, being the highest grossing film of that year, by a long shot, and winning 6 Academy Awards at the 1978 Oscars. In short, this film is huge, but does it really deserve all the praise it's gotten over the past 4 decades? Short answer, yes. Long answer, well, let's just take a look. The film follows a group of rebels as they battle against the Galactic Empire, who have plans for a superweapon called the Death Star, a moon-sized space station capable of destroying entire planets within a matter of minutes. The rebels include Luke Skywalker, a young farmer who seeks justice against the Empire for killing his aunt and uncle, Obi-Wan Kenobi, a wise old warrior who teaches Luke how to fight and use a magical power known as the Force, Han Solo and Chewbacca, smugglers who are more or less only in it for the money, and Princess Leia, one of the leaders of the rebellion who is captured by the Empire. In order to succeed, they must band together with the rest of the rebellion against the Empire before they finish building the Death Star and have total domination over the rest of the galaxy. While the story doesn't sound like anything original, its execution is a very welcome breath of fresh air. The amount of effort and creativity that went into designing this film's world is truly a marvel, even if a lot of this movie is rather reminiscent of Flash Gordon. In fact, that was what George Lucas, the writer and director, almost did. He originally wanted to adapt the Flash Gordon space adventure comics into their own movies, but couldn't get the rights to the property, and because of that, he decided to invent his own. While that does sound a lot like someone just copying down ideas from something else, I think it's more important to look at how those ideas were handled in this film. And honestly, that's probably my favorite thing about Star Wars. Its creativity. Whether it's traveling to strange places and meeting strange people and aliens, or seeing these people interact with each other and the world around them, every part of this film is just brimming with imagination. And I think the best example of that is the Mos Eisley scene, which is when Luke and Obi-Wan first go to meet Han Solo. This scene has a little bit of everything great about this movie in it. An interesting location and environment, weird and creative looking characters, atmospheric music, great world building and characterization. I mean, come on, just look at this place. It's just a marvelous 8 minutes of runtime. If you're trying to get your friend into Star Wars, this is the scene you show them. However, with all that said, I will admit that looking back on this film, there are some things that haven't aged quite as well as I thought. One of those things is, well, the casting. I'm not saying they're bad actors, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher all service their roles well, but there are some things I picked up on pretty quickly in my most recent viewing. Like, a lot of Luke's dialogue is delivered in kind of a whiny tone, and Solo's constant complaining about whatever the situation is definitely becomes more noticeable. These aren't deal breakers or anything, but they're definitely there. But I gotta say, the best casted person for this movie is definitely James Earl Jones as the antagonist Darth Vader. At this point, you don't really know much about him, but just hearing him speak tells you so much about his character. You get a feeling for exactly how he is, just by his voice, which is a very impressive feat on its own. So in terms of casting, I'll give that one to Star Wars. But one thing that is consistently good with this movie is its score. John Williams had already established his credibility as a composer with films like the musical Tom Sawyer and especially Jaws, but his music really comes into its own with this film. Every piece of this film's score feels bigger than the world they accompany. Two of the best examples are the music that accompanies the first battle between the Republic and the Empire, and the first appearance of Darth Vader. I've seen this film many times, and that scene still gives me goosebumps. Honestly, there's not much to say here that hasn't been said a million times already, but I don't think that's such a bad thing. At this point, the movie's legacy has almost transcended past its own status. I'm willing to bet there are a lot of people out there who know exactly what Star Wars is about but haven't seen any of the movies. And to me, that is the wonder of this film. It's left such an impact on American society and the film industry in ways many people don't even know about. And if we're still talking about it 42 years after its release, I think it's safe to say Star Wars won't be going anywhere anytime soon.